Welcome back to another episode of the F1 2021 My Team Series, Lozzer Racing, and we are heading to another street track this time round for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Last time out, if you don't want any spoilers, I would suggest going back and watching the last episode, which was the Monaco Grand Prix, but if you don't want it to be spoiled, I'll give you a couple of seconds to go and watch it now. So now I've given you those couple of seconds, I will now tell you what happened in the last episode. Unfortunately, we retired from the Monaco Grand Prix about halfway through the race. We were running in like P14, P15, something like that, when we were just way too slow. It was a full wet race, we were just way too slow. So we picked for new tyres, and then Kimi Räikkönen spun us round. And then we lost our front wing because we spun again, so we just pulled into the pits and retired because we would have been so far off everyone and everything. So that is what happened in the last race. Now we move on to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and this one has pretty much been quite a happy hunting ground for me over the course of the last few games. And hopefully it continues to be one, as we actually have new upgrades coming in, one for downforce and one for engine power. Unfortunately, gearbox durability didn't come through. That is the weather forecast. There may be a chance of rain towards the end of qualifying, but let's face it, we're not going to make it that far, so we should be okay. And it's going to be pretty much a completely dry race, which is always good. But yeah, of course, if you don't remember, in last year's My Team Series, the second attempt at it, I guess, we actually got a podium in Azerbaijan. In the one and only race we did at Azerbaijan in the first season, we actually got a podium in like what was the second worst car. So this is a very happy hunting ground for me, and hopefully we can push to get a bit higher up in this race today. We're going through quick practice now. I'm not going to show it all to you and all that sort of stuff. Let's just get on to qualifying. And in qualifying so far, we really haven't been doing well. We've been out-qualified by our teammate Robert Schwartzman in every single race so far. Looking to change that today. Could we even push for Q2? Who even knows? But here we go then, as we head on to our first lap around the streets of Baku. And this street track is completely different to the one of Monaco. Long straights, a bit wider than Monaco as well, so you can go side by side. It's all so much better, and of course loads of overtaking opportunities as well. Again, Monaco has pretty much none at all. But I say it's a bit wider than Monaco, yes it is, but it also has the narrowest section there, the castle section. It has the narrowest section of the whole Formula 1 calendar. And we're not doing too badly so far, I don't think. Again, the first lap, as I always say, it's just a banker lap. If it's not the greatest time in the world, I don't mind. I just want to get a clean lap in. And if it's the worst time, then I'm not really bothered. But like I say, I absolutely love driving this track on this game. Apart from in the wet, because in the wet, this track is an absolute nightmare. But as you can see, that's the final proper corner. These are turns, but they're not corners. You're going flat out through all of them. And we're now on to the massively long straight, heading down to the finish line, and you have to try and get a line to make sure you don't have to turn at all or move the car. You're just going straight towards the line. Absolutely no bother at all. We've done a time that's faster than George Russell. That's not bad for our first run, but our second lap was actually even better. We're half a second up on our previous time, as we do graze the wall slightly there, but we come across the line for P13. The dizzy heights of P13 in qualifying. I can't believe I actually made it that far. So I thought, with me in P13, I'm actually going to risk it and just simulate to the end of the session and not go for a third run. And if we don't go for a third run, the worst that can happen really is we're going to be what, P17, 18 and be knocked out. And as we end off the qualifying session, Lando Norris was actually the fastest in that Q1 session, but we go down the leaderboard. Where are we going to be? P15! We've made it through to Q2 for the first time, and we've also out-qualified our teammate for the first time, as Robert Schwartzman qualifies in the position I seem to love qualifying in, and that is P20. We are into Q2, which is fantastic. So here we go then, our first foray into Q2, the first time we're ever doing a lap in Q2, and it's my only new set of soft tyres, so it's the only decent lap we're actually going to get in this session, so we've got to make it count this time. We can't just have the first lap being a banker lap. No, we've got to make this one count. As we I think we do pretty decent here, I'm not gonna lie. We're going through the corners like you should do, really. We're not lifting and coasting as much as we have done on other tracks as well. I seem to lift and coast quite a lot on the other tracks, but it's good for fuel saving at the end of the day. So yeah, but obviously you don't need to save fuel in qualifying. We've also got an Aston Martin ahead of us as well, so hopefully, as you can just see him slightly in the distance there, I don't know which one it is, but hopefully they can give us some sort of tow down the straight. I know we're quite far back, but you need to be, even if you're 5 seconds behind the car in front, apparently, you're still being affected by that car. So that car, that Aston Martin, is still punching a hole in the air right now, giving us just that slight bit more speed down the main straight. Can we maybe get higher than P16? I was just expecting to be P16. We've got the slowest time of all right now. Only 3/10 slower than Lance Stroll, who was the Aston Martin who was in front of us. And Perez has gone for it on mediums as well. I was fairly happy with that time. And as we watch the final people complete their first lap, we're actually P15. We're ahead of Kimi Raikkonen by about 1/10.5. So I thought, maybe I do go for another lap. And as I look at my other 2 sets of soft tyres, they apparently, even though used, would be faster than the ones that I just set my lap time on. I mean, it's literally only 17 thousandths faster, but as you can see there, on the weather, it actually now says in Q2 that it's raining, so we actually go out to see what the weather conditions are like, just in case. And it is actually raining, which means that, yeah, that means that pretty much no one else is going to get a good enough lap in. And that is exactly true, as we end Q2 in the positions we were in. And that means that it has caught out Sergio Perez on those medium tyres. He tried his best to get through to Q3 on medium tyres, but the rain just completely stopped him in his tracks. And he is going to start P12 with the 2 Mercedes, Norris and Verstappen all getting through on mediums. Let's go to the race and see what we can do today from a decent position.
Good afternoon and welcome to Baku. This was the arena, if you think back to 2017, of one of the most eventful races of modern history, with controversy behind the safety car, last-second overtakes, and a historic podium for Williams and for Lance Stroll. So let's find out what lies in store for us this year. It's time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With 20 turns and a length of 3.7 miles, Baku City Circuit in the heart of the Azerbaijan capital is a real test of a driver's endurance, patience and precision. 90-degree corners through Sector 1 lead into a tightening uphill sprint as we start to circle around the old city. Then a 1.4-mile chase flat out through Sector 3 towards the finish line. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here today. But I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
From the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the run down into turn 1. It's all a bit like going into battle, and the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you, so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, Lando Norris and Ricciardo, Sainz, Vettel, Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll, Gasly, Perez, Esteban Ocon and Tsunoda, Lawrence, Raikkonen, Antonio Giovinazzi and George Russell, Mick Schumacher, Schwartzman, Mazepin and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
So here we are then, a nice dry race here around Baku today, and it is recommended that I do a one stop from mediums to hard, and that is exactly what I'm going to go with, because quite a lot of people are starting on the soft tyres, and if you start on the soft tyres you are going to have to two stop. So I am going to try and just get ahead of everyone with the one stop and see how it goes. So here we go then as we head to the start of this race. We're in P15, the highest starting position we've ever been in so far. Lights out, and we're underway, and we've had a decent start compared to Yuki Tsunoda, but he gets a better second phase, but we're going to dive it just down the inside of absolutely everyone we possibly can, and Raikkonen's gone down the inside of me, and that has put Stroll and Gasly completely under pressure, and Stroll has spun Gasly into the wall there. I went down the inside because there was room. I did not realise that Raikkonen had gone down my inside as well, and we've both gained positions whilst Stroll and Gasly have lost out completely there, especially Stroll. And now out of turn 4 we're putting the other Aston Martin of Vettel under pressure. I see a gap in front of him, so I go for the dive, because why not? And we get ahead of the other Aston Martin, and we're up into P9. We've suffered no damage from that. I'm not sure about Vettel. I don't know if I maybe clipped his front wing or something and put the hand up of the gesture, but yeah, we were into P9. I can't believe this. And I don't know what's happened behind us. There is a yellow flag. I don't know what for, but the virtual safety car has been deployed. So yeah, this is a first for this series, isn't it? A virtual safety car. We've now just got to try and keep to the delta, but also stay as close to Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso ahead as we possibly can, as we're looking to make our way through the field on these medium tyres, get in as high a position as we can. Vettel's in the pits, by the way, so he did get damage, and Stroll is also coming into the pits, so they've both got damage. What a calamitous start for the Aston Martin drivers. Both drivers suffering damage on the opening lap, and both now right at the back, as the virtual safety car is now ending in one of the most annoying places on the track. We're not going to gain anything by it ending here. We have closed up to Carlos Sainz through the virtual safety car, so we have gained on the guys in front of us under VSC conditions, but I would have loved it to have ended on the main straight, please. That would have been nice. We could have got the slipstream, the tow from Carlos Sainz, and look, they've already gone down the road, like, you know, they've already gone down the road. However, under braking, we seem to be catching up to them quite a fair bit. They seem to be taking it really easy through the corners right now, whereas me, I'm going all in. Like, I'm trying to make up as many positions as I can here. I've already made up, where did I qualify? P15. I've already made up 6 positions. Let's make up some more whilst we're here. As we head on to lap 4, then going on to lap 5, and we've got a front row seat for this one, as Carlos Sainz is catching up to Fernando Alonso. We've kept up with these two, which I'm very surprised at, but obviously, you know, we've kept the tow behind them. We're in the tow, we're in the slipstream, and Sainz with DRS is now hoping to make a move on Alonso. We've got a front row seat for this one. This side by side going into turn 1, we could maybe get involved in this here. We try and switch it back down the inside, but Alonso cuts me off. He saw the danger and cut me off fairly quickly there, but we go down his inside anyway into turn 2, and we get the position. We're up into P8. Now let's see if we can catch up to Sainz. And on the very next lap, we have kept up with Carlos Sainz. We might actually be able to make a legit overtake on a Ferrari here. We're in the slipstream. We're going to get DRS. We're only 3/10 behind him. We're not even using ERS at the moment. We just got DRS on. We don't need ERS for this, because look, we're closing up to the Ferrari. We fake to the left, go to the right, and we brake later than Sainz, who keeps it down the inside, but we go around the outside of him into turn 1, and we're up into P5. This is now P5 because some people are starting to pit. So this, at the moment, this one stop is working wonders at the moment. And as cars in front of us have started to pit, we're now up into 2nd place. However, Lewis Hamilton has just come out of the pits right behind us. So we're probably not keeping this 2nd place for very long, because the Mercedes is right on our tail already. It's only 1.5 seconds behind us. So yeah, this probably though will help Bottas gain the leads, that's for sure, because we're going to be a mobile chicane for Hamilton with how slow our car is compared to the Mercedes. And we've actually managed to keep him behind us for an entire lap, but now he's looking to pull alongside us into this weird, straight, fast, flat-out section. We're right alongside the Mercedes. We're keeping pace with Hamilton as well, as he hops over the curb and nearly puts me into the wall, but we're still running wheel to wheel here. Now, actually, I try tactically here. I hang it around the outside, sure, but I'm actually going to let him get ahead of me so I can then get the DRS back on Hamilton and get back ahead of him on the main straight. And look, it's already working wonders. We're already catching up to him before the DRS zone. And then once we get DRS, we absolutely breeze past the Mercedes. Once again, no ERS necessary. We're not using overtake mode there. We have just legitimately been faster in a straight line than a Mercedes, with DRS assistance of course, but Hamilton is still all over the back of me here, and we have another DRS zone to try and defend from the Mercedes, and unfortunately this time it's just not going to happen. He's going to absolutely waltz past us there, and we've got nothing to defend with. And actually, Bottas pit on that lap, so if you didn't notice, we were momentarily in the lead through turn 1 and turn 2. We were in the lead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Now that may have only been for 2 corners, but I can now say that I have led a race for some point in this first season. And now we move on to the next lap, lap 12. Bottas has already passed us. We let him past easily, and now we've got Verstappen trying to get past us as well. Into the castle section, he's not going to pass us here, is he? But now we're into the next section again. The flat out sort of double left-hander, and Verstappen is going to go alongside as well, like Hamilton did, but he actually backs out of that one because we squeezed him a fair bit there. And into the braking zone, he's also not going to try it there as well like Hamilton did. He's actually being a bit more conservative and a bit more careful. Again though, I'm trying the tactics here. I purposely went wide there to let Verstappen pass me onto the main straight. So guess what? We're going to get DRS once again, and we are potentially going to legitimately pass a Red Bull. And once again, we used a bit of overtake mode there, and we were faster than him already as we were in his slipstream there. We give him a little bit of a squeeze there, we banged tyres, and we get past Verstappen once again. But we are actually going to pit on this lap, so if he gets past us again, it doesn't really matter too much. And as we go into turn 2, the same thing is going to happen again. Verstappen is going to get the DRS on us, and he is going to pass us fairly easily there. And yeah, into turn 3, it's no contest really. Or is it? As we dive down the inside there, we're going to completely compromise him, and we're going to get ahead of him once again. Simple as that really. He didn't get ahead of us enough, so we went back past him because we could. And we are, as I said, going to box this lap, but so is Verstappen. Verstappen is originally, I thought he was just trying to get the slipstream from us, but he's actually coming in as well, so maybe he suffered a little bit of damage. I don't know. If I damage these other cars, I am not intentionally trying to, by the way. I'm not trying to get further up the pecking order by just breaking everyone else's car. That's not how I do it. It's never intentional, but it's how it's worked out. That was a slow stop from the crew, by the way, 3 seconds. But we come back out of the pit, and after our one and only stop, we're in P8. P8. So we started in P15, and after our one and only pit stop, we are in P8. As Nikita Mazepin retires from the Grand Prix, he just, something broke on his car, I guess, and he pulls over and retires. So that is one less driver to worry about, I guess, although to be fair, with how high we are up on in the pecking order right now, we don't have to worry about him at all. And we now move on to lap 15, and Esteban Ocon has actually just overtaken us on the main straight. Apologies, I don't have a camera or a replay camera or anything for that, so I apologise. But we're now in the second DRS zone, and we're quickly catching back up to the Alpine again, who goes defensive, and oh wow, he doesn't leave me much space on the outside, but we go around the outside of turn 3, and that's a brilliant move to get back ahead of the Alpine. But this fight is not over yet. And as we head on to the very next lap, here we are in front of the Alpine, but he's going to get a very nice slipstream from us here. We're deploying all the ERS we possibly can right now to try and stay ahead of Ocon. We're weaving and everything like that, just trying to break the slipstream. But in the end, Ocon goes around the outside there. We kind of squeeze him a bit, but he gets ahead of us once again. But we dive down the inside of turn 1 and get back ahead. We are not giving this up without a fight. Esteban needs to know that, and as you can see, Lando Norris has just come out of the pit lane behind us battling pair. So now he's in the fight as well. And we're now on the same lap, heading down towards the braking zone with that horrible curb that Ocon, in his haste to go down my inside, pushes Norris into the wall after hopping over the curb. I can't remember what turn number that is, otherwise I would have said. But Ocon has now completely ruined Lando Norris's race. Just look at the speed that Norris gets. Ocon goes defensive, but at the same time uses it to try and attack me. He hops over the curb and leaves Lando with absolutely no room at all. And Lando's now got a broken front wing, and he is going to have to pit again. We're now on to lap 18 and we're back up to P5 again after others have made their pit stops. Sergio Perez has managed to jump us after switching from hards to mediums, so he's done the opposite to what we've done. However, we're in a battle with his teammate right now, Max Verstappen, as he goes down, as we go down the inside of him, he was catching us on the main straight, but once again, we are in battle with the Red Bull, the second time in this race that we have managed to end up battling him. Of course, the first time round, it didn't end well for Verstappen especially, as he had to pit for damages, but now it's now for even higher up position, as well as Nicholas Latifi retires from the Grand Prix as well. So both Mazepin and Latifi have both retired from the Grand Prix. So we have a look at how Latifi retired here, but first we're actually following Robert Schwartzman, who's not having a great race. He's currently in last place. Of course, as Mazepin has retired, he's actually catching up to the Williams of Latifi. This is before Latifi actually retired, and as you can see through turn 2, Schwartzman gets a great run on Latifi. He's got DRS here. He's going to maybe try and get past the Williams here. He goes to the outside and then changes to the inside line. Brilliant driving there from the Russian, and he goes down the inside of turn 3. Latifi's still hanging in there though. Maybe he could try and move down the inside of turn 4. They bang wheels, and Schwartzman goes round the outside of the Canadian at turn 4. What brilliant racing from these two. And this is just a lap later, lap 18, Schwartzman's got away and Latifi is going very, very slowly indeed, and he, once again, just like Mazepin, is going to have to pull off to the side here and retire from the Grand Prix. His engine has blown and he is out of the race. As we head back to our POV, we've got Verstappen pressuring us once again, and Leclerc has also joined the fight. They're going to go either side of me down the main straight, and they're now going to battle each other, and Leclerc looks like he's potentially going to pick up 2 places here as they go side by side into turn 1. And once again, apologies, but I seem to have missed just recording the bit or finding the bit where we overtook Leclerc into turn 3, but now we're back on to the main straight again, and Leclerc gets past us here just about, but we actually squeeze him out there. That was not my intention at all. We squeeze him out. I just trying to stay behind him to get the DRS, and now Ocon has overtaken Leclerc, and Ocon is now coming down the main straight, but the thing is, Ocon's actually gone into the pits. So now Leclerc is the one who's pressurising us once again as he tries to go round the outside into turn 1, but once again we give him the squeeze and we keep ahead of him for now. And now lap 21, Leclerc's behind us again, and he's got Alonso and Vettel and Tsunoda all following him. This time we're well ahead. We had no chance of trying to get Leclerc in front of us here. Now Leclerc and Alonso, we're weaving the whole time. Leclerc is going into the pits. Leclerc, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why people are pitting so much, but now Alonso and Vettel have now gone either side of me. But we've outbraked them both, and we keep ahead into turn 1. Leclerc's gone into the pits. I don't know where he would have picked up damage, if any. We did not touch him at all. That was not our fault. But Leclerc's race is ruined once again. And now it's Vettel who is now trying to get after us as he's overtaken Alonso. What is going on in this race? And once again, the very next lap, it's Vettel and Alonso either side of me. This time they've got past us way quicker. Tsunoda has also got past us, but we're going to dive it down the inside of as many of them as we can at this point. At this point, it's Vettel and Tsunoda, so we've made 2 positions back, but Alonso has made his way past. It's the fact we're on the hard tyres, I think. Most of these guys are on mediums, Tsunoda's on hards, but we're on hards. And all the rest of these guys on mediums are really out-tractioning us, outpacing us, and of course our car is just a lot slower than these guys. We should not be in this position right now, but we're still, with 3 laps to go, in P7, and all I want in this race is points. I don't care how many, I just want points. And we're actually now onto the final lap of the Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton has already won it. Vettel and Tsunoda in the end backed off pretty much. They didn't have the power to try and keep pressurising me as we come through the final couple of corners now onto the great big back straight. It's been an amazing race for us. What a comeback it's been from Monaco. After retirement at Monaco, we are going to come through to gain our first points in Formula 1 and gain P7 at the end of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. As I said, what a fantastic turnaround for us. It's been amazing to be able to battle cars like that. We also get driver of the day as well. Absolutely lovely stuff from us here.
The Mercedes team pulled out a fantastic performance today. They should be proud. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team. And they certainly deserve it.
Well then, you have to say, what an incredible race on our end, and of course for the podium sitters as well. Lewis Hamilton did end up winning the Grand Prix. I thought that after backing him up as much as we did, I thought that Bottas would go on and win. And Daniel Ricciardo also gets on the podium as well, which is very good stuff for McLaren. We finish in P7, absolutely huge for us. Lando Norris ended up finishing last behind Robert Schwartzman, so Schwartzman actually didn't end up finishing last like I thought he would. Both Ferraris out of the points as well after both having to make 3 stops, so something must have happened to Carlos Sainz as well as Leclerc. Norris ended up making 4 stops, so even worse for him. But P7, 4 points on the board. Sorry, not 4, 6 points on the board. Absolutely huge for our team here. Our first points in Formula 1. Absolutely love it. But of course, after getting our first points as a constructor and as a driver, of course I forget to show the constructors and drivers standings. I will do that at the start of the next episode, I promise, but now we get on with the things that will happen in between this Grand Prix and the next one. We actually get upgrades come through. The rear wing outer strakes downforce upgrade has come through. We will have a brand new rear wing for the next race. We got 10 days until the Monaco structure upgrade comes in. We're gonna upgrade our energy store cells positioning because we got a discount on it. That's the kind of thing I'm doing at the moment. I'm seeing what I've got discounts on and going for them because like, you know, I've got a discount on them, why would I not? And we also go for front wing main flap eventually when we actually decide to go for it. We go for front wing main flap as well to add a bit more downforce to our car. We have the R&D points for it. We've dropped down below Haas in terms of R&D at the moment, and also look at the wear on our engine as well. What I've been doing is using the first column for the practice sessions and then the second column for the races. Unfortunately now I can't do it exactly like that because some of the things in the first column are too worn. So that kind of needs to be fixed slightly because we are going to guaranteed have to take penalties during the course of this season. And now with $1.63 million in the bank, we have a look at potentially upgrading more facilities, and eventually we actually go for the powertrain facility because that's still at spec 0. So we're actually going to, like, you know, make it spec 1. That would be great. So in the end, we decide to go for the quality control, which means that failure chance on any powertrain upgrades will be decreased by 10%. And before we go, we have one final thing, and that is a personnel department event. So let's go into it and see what happens. Our regular simulation driver has had a medical issue and is having to undergo a surgical procedure. We should consider asking Schwartzman to temporarily step in and help us out with some of these sessions. If we accept, his focus goes down, but we get 750 R&D points, and if we decline, nothing happens. But I actually decide to go and accept this because I keep doing ones that, you know, I don't want to put their focus at risk, but at the end of the day, we can make more upgrades to our car if we do that one, which is always nice because we've now got 1,200 R&D points once again, which means we can now go and make more upgrades to the car, and Schwartzman's focus is actually at 77 after that, so it's absolutely fine. His focus is still quite high. So that's good. We've made the right decision there. So we're actually now going to go and make some upgrades. And the Monaco structure upgrade has now come through as well. So we're now going to have a look at what upgrades we can make. And also the ignition system upgrade for the power unit as well has also come in. So what we're going to do now is make an upgrade to another thing on the chassis. The heave dampers, the heavy dampers. I don't know how to say that. And that takes us down to 408 R&D points. And as we go through towards the French Grand Prix, we actually have another upgrade fail on us, unfortunately. And that is actually the front wing main flap upgrade that we actually just did But that is going to be it for this episode, guys. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to smash that like button down below, subscribe if you like what you see and you want to see more, and if you don't want to miss a video, hit that little bell next to the subscribe button. You'll get a notification whenever I upload. Until next time, thanks so much for watching. Peace.